Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I want to talk to you guys about some stuff we have going on. As you know, we're not just talkers; we are doers. We are getting things done. Now, one of the things I want to mention to you, first of all, actually, before we get started, do me a favor: hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done this yet, please do that, and also put your hashtag B1 in the chat. So we can remind ourselves that we are Black first. That's extremely important. That's extremely important to do that. All right. So here's the deal. You guys know I have talked to you guys about I'm just sick of being dominated by other people. I'm sick of Black people coming in last place. I am sick of us not reaching our potential. I'm sick of us being mediocre when we are the original man. We are the original woman. We are some of the greatest human beings in the history of this planet, particularly Native Blacks. Native Blacks have a unique birthright in the United States that says that we deserve reparations. We deserve all kinds of, all kinds of land and all kinds of property that they stole from us, right? We know this, right? Give me a yes or no if you agree that we all deserve reparations. We've talked about that 1,000 times. I want to reiterate that point. So what I have always said is that we need Black-owned media. We need to own Black media. Now, in case you don't know what we've been doing, so you don't think we're just sitting there talking. I mean, we built a Black-owned university, the Black Business School. It has 127,000 students, and we taught over 1 million Black people how to invest in the stock market, which is massive for Black wealth. That's going to create probably $1 trillion in Black wealth within a generation if everybody does even 1/10 of what I've said. I have a PhD in finance. I know this is true. But here's the other piece. We also need to own Black media. So we've been pushing to develop stronger Black media channels and media outlets. We're connected with things like Fly Nubian Queen. We hit 1 million people a month on Fly Nubian Queen. The Dr. Boyce TV hits 1 million people a week by itself. Your Black World hits 1 million people a week. We coordinate with other media outlets from Tariq Nasheed, his platform, to Willie D and a lot of other, Lord Jamar, just a lot of Black folks that are doing the damn thing. So we're building Black media. And one other thing that we've been doing is we have been actually putting together films. We've been making Black-owned films. We have Your Black World films and we have Boyce Watkins films. We partner with people. I had a meeting yesterday with director Marcus Small. We're going to do a next installment in the Melanin Code. The Melanin Code is a project that we did before that was seen by hundreds of thousands of people. We also distribute a lot of our films through Quayle TV. Quayle TV, Kweli. Quayle is the Black Netflix. They're like a Black Netflix. They're spelled Kweli. In fact, let me put this in here because I met this young sister who started Quayle TV, and I just thought she was so great and so smart and had her heart in the right place. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a free shout out. I bet she'll get some subscribers off of this because I know how y'all think, and I know that you support Black the way we do. So here's the deal. Here's why I'm doing this conversation, and this is what all this has to do with the price of tea in China. Well, you guys know we've created a lot of Black-owned movies. We studied extensively the Jewish model of creating Hollywood. I have all my students in the Black Business School read a book called How the Jews Invented Hollywood. And in this book, they explain where all the Hollywood studios came from. They explain how they were able to create Warner Brothers Pictures and Universal and everything else. And that inspired me. It made me say, okay, this is they had to deal with some chaos. They had to deal with some backward thinking people too. They had to fight some battles, but they built something amazing. So, and I know that we're smarter than they are. So I figured, hey, we can just put something together that's even better than that. So we've been making movies. We've been making movies that have been seen by millions of people. And I want to tell you about our latest project. Our latest project is a film called Hapi. Hapi. I'm an executive producer on Hapi. The bulk of the legwork was done by a brother named Taaqiy Grant. Taaqiy did this film Hapi, and Hapi goes all the way back to ancient Egypt and breaks down the roots of modern economic systems and how it links back to Africa. So this is a very important film. I'm about to show you guys the trailer. If you want to see the trailer, you can go to drboycetv.com. If you're watching on Instagram, I can't show it on Instagram, but I'm going to show it in a moment. But this film, there are some great people in this film, and I'll name a couple, but I can't name everybody. Actually, let me see if I can share my screen. I'm really proud of this project because it's very, very, very well done. Taaqiy did a wonderful job on this film, and I hadn't had a chance to really talk much about it yet. But today I wanted to make sure that we gave this team, I would say this brother, but actually it's a team of people, their respect for what they pulled off. I mean, my God, here's the cast. So you can see on the screen here, there I am. I'm an executive producer on the project. but also Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who has a PhD in economics from MIT. She's actually the one that asked Barack Obama about reparations during an interview. And Obama literally ended the interview right then. He did not want to talk about reparations. I think it's important for the community to know that. We have Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Solange Ashby. Let's see, Professor James Small is in here. Dr. Georgina Fallou. We have there's a couple other names in here that people that I knew personally. There's Lord Jamar. You've got Sharif Abdul Malik, the founder of WeBuyBlack.com, that has over 1 million followers, where they're all buying black. And so they're really getting it done. Like, this isn't just a film, it's really a movement. And it's all about sort of, looking at in the history of our economic situation and really understanding solutions that come from sort of studying the past. And I'm going to break this down for you right now. So do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also, I'm going to put this URL up here. We're going to do an event on Black Movie Night, where I'm going to let you guys do a sneak peek of the film. We're going to watch about 20 minutes of the film, totally free. The actual screening is not free, because freedom is not free. This film was not cheap. I want to make sure the brother Taaqiy makes some money from this, but he agreed to let us do a free sneak peek, and you can actually get a link to the event, which happens tomorrow night, the 12th at 8 p.m. You can go to blackmovienight.net, blackmovienight.net. We're going to watch 20 minutes of the film, and then we're also going to have a conversation with the director. So join us. If you want to be a part of this, we could use your help. It's hard to build an industry without consumers. Black people put $1 billion in Disney's pocket when they made the Black Panther. And we believe we can put $1 billion in the pockets of Black filmmakers that are making independent projects, so that they don't have to go to Hollywood, so they don't have to sell out, so they don't have to come out here and put nonsense on the screen. It is a battle. It is a complete battle for a lot of these directors and filmmakers to get the funding they need, and to also make the films that need to be made that show the image of our people that we deserve to have. A lot of our folks have to go out there and sell out because their own community won't support them. So with the Black Movie Night event, it doesn't cost you anything but your attention. All you got to do is pay attention for this event. You ain't got to pay no money. Blackmovienight.net is where you can sign up for the event tomorrow night for the sneak peek. You can watch the first 20 minutes free. And then if you like that first 20, 25 minutes, we're hoping that you will consider going to the actual screening, which is on the 21st. Links to both of those events is on the URL, blackmovienight.net, not .com, .net. So you can go there. And actually, I'm going to read something to you that'll help you kind of understand why the solutions to the future actually lie in the past. I want you guys to take a second, and I'm going to read from Black Labor, White Wealth. Black Labor, White Wealth. Now, I want you to take a moment, please, and I want you to process the title of this book. This book was written by Dr. Claude Anderson, Black Labor, White Wealth. And I need you to process that sentence for a moment. I want you to process that. And why do I want you to stop and process that? Because everybody gets rich off of Black people except Black people. Everybody expects Black people to come work for them. Everybody expects Black people to come vote for them. Everybody expects Black people to come support them. And nobody really puts the Black community at the top of the priority, but they're always asking you to put them at the top of their list. That's what Dr. Anderson refers to as the doctrine of unequal exchange. It's like dating somebody where you love them to death and they can't give you the time of day. Every time they call you, you're supposed to be available, but when you call them, they ain't got time. When they need money, you always got their back, but when you need money, they ain't got a Scooby snack, right? So the doctrine of unequal exchange is built off this idea that there's an imbalance. And if you read this book will be the most significant Black history book you'll ever read. It'll be more significant than anything you've ever learned in school, and it's called Black Labor, White Wealth. I've read this book, and it's amazing. All right, so here's what I'm going to read to you guys. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. And some of you may be watching from the Black Boss channel, theblackbosschannel.com. That's our platform for Black men. That's where Black men have discussions on a regular basis on lots of issues, from sports to politics and everything in between. And we created the Black Boss channel because Black men, first of all, we want Black men to be bosses. We're tired of we're not creating little boys. We're not creating beta males. We're not here to train little boys to be little girls. There's plenty of platforms. They can go follow Billy Porter if they want that. We want Black men to be bosses and to be liberated and free. And when we saw what was going on with Ice Cube, one of the reasons that people get so much resistance to Ice Cube when he spoke on behalf of black people is they kind of looked at him and they're like, you're a black man. You have no voice. You don't matter. You know, Kamala Harris went out of her way to thank black women for voting for her, which is fine. I don't care about that. But we need spaces where black men can be heard. So the Black Boss Channel, the Black Boss Channel, THE, theblackbosschannel.com. If you're on the channel right now, please subscribe. Some of you are watching. I sent you a text and you came in on the link. The link you came in on was the Black Boss Channel. Subscribe, support these brothers, because brothers need to be heard. A lot of young black men, especially, are not being heard. I want young black men to be heard. I want older black men to be heard. Black men need to be part of the black family again. We need to bring these brothers home, back into the loop. Forget marginalizing them. It's okay if white folks marginalize black men. That they can do what they're going to do. That's their system. But it's not okay. It's not okay for us to marginalize them. It's not okay for us to go along with the program. And unfortunately, you got a lot of brainwashed folks that will marginalize black men, talk crazy about black men, don't have no respect for black men. And fine, I'm gonna leave that up to their therapist to help them work through their daddy issues. But for those of you that get what I'm saying, I hope that you'll support that as well. These are lots of things that we're doing. And I like to tell you guys about these things so you know that we're not just here yapping, we're building. We are building things. And they are effective. We are reaching millions of people with this, and we get no corporate sponsorship. And we are not funded by the Democrat or Republican parties. All right, so let me read this to you. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. All right, this is on page 108 in the book Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. He says, this is the beginning of the great wealth displacement. This is when you started being broke. Because before, you used to be here, and then somehow you ended up here. You used to be kings, somehow you ended up being the laughing stock. Right, you used to be the wealthiest, Mansa Musa, all that stuff, Kemet, Kush, all that, and then you ended up in the ghettos, right? So let's figure out how you ended up there. He says, if a market displacement of Africa's wealth into European treasuries is any indicator, then it can be speculated that the major extractive period began during the 14th and 15th centuries. During this time, the entire European continent, this is where white people live, in Europe, the entire European continent was riddled with poverty, famine, feudalism, and disease. So that was basically, the nastiest hood you can ever imagine. People were dying, people were killing each other. Everybody was poor. A lot of people were starving to death. The entire continent was in an economic depression, especially Western Europe. Europe's economy was also weakened by the steady loss of precious metals to Asian nations, who would only accept gold in payment for trade purchases. So they were trading with the Asians. The Asians said, we'll trade with you, but if you want to get the best that we got, you got to give us gold. We'll take gold, we'll take silver. That's not apparently what the Africans did, at least according to Dr. Anderson. He says, while Europe was enduring stagnating socioeconomic depressions, West Africa was known for its flourishing empires, major regional trading centers, and for producing some of the world's finest artifacts. Nations throughout the Mediterranean area were drawn to these West African trading centers by rumors of massive wealth. So they heard how much money was in Africa. And in case you don't know this, there was a time where all the European countries got together and looked at a map of Africa and they chopped it up into pieces. Germany said, okay, you can have, the British, you can have this. The French were like, we want that. And the Germans were like, we're going to take this. So they literally chopped it up, almost like you sort through cattle or chickens, right? So he says the three large empires, Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, drew European, Moorish, and Arabian traders into West Africa's great trading cities such as Gao and Timbuktu. Arabian and Moorish traders routinely sought West African cash crops and natural resources, especially gold, silver, ivory, and salt. Arab traders' interest in West Africa was more than routine trade. Their aggressiveness reflected their interest in controlling and profiting from the wealth of West Africa. Though they controlled most African seaports, especially along the length of the Red Sea, Arabs felt threatened by inland black unity and empire building. So when you start building empires, people get threatened. So if you build a Black Wall Street, they're going to come try to burn it down, but that's where you have to defend yourself. The Arabs sought greater access to African wealth through intermarriage, concubinage, meaning having concubines, trade, and religious proselytizing missions, advocating one religious brotherhood. like we're your brother. Now give me your stuff. Let's see here. So, so basically, he talks about this idea of removing wealth from Africa. So he says the removing of wealth from Africa was not completely confined to Arab and Moorish traders. They were later joined by traders from Portugal and Spain, who established trading routes around the coast of West Africa, an area commonly known as the Ivory Coast. These groups built their trade around their naval strength and rarely traveled to inland markets. In 1441, the first Africans were kidnapped and taken to Lisbon, Portugal, for the specific purpose of enslavement. Contrary to many reports, the first Africans kidnapped and taken to Portugal were not West African blacks. They were Berbers, an Arabic-speaking light-skinned people who practiced the Muslim religion and belonged to the Caucasoid race. The Portuguese returned the Berbers to their desert homes after they had extensively questioned them about Black West Africa's alleged wealth. This incident probably represented the first steps in developing a plan to capture and trade slaves and to establish slavery as an international business rather than a trading custom. You follow me? I'm going to keep reading. So he says, since color was the decisive factor in slavery, it was important to know who was and was not a member of the Black race. Moors were not classified as members of the Black race. In Northwest Africa, the offspring of blacks, white Berbers, and Arabs became known as Moors. They lived along the Mediterranean Sea, north of the Sahara Desert. Few identified with West African blacks who lived south of the Sahara. However, the few Moors who were black with the aid of some Islamic converts pushed the doors to West Africa's natural and human capital wide open. So by the late 16th century, West Africa had lost its reputation of invincibility. Her great empires had been weakened by divisive internal forces, fighting each other, infighting, like some of y'all like to do, which diminished the sense of West African nationhood or togetherness and left its natural and human capital resources unprotected. When you don't have unity, your resources kind of leak out. Tragically, West African leaders failed to take protective measures to guard their natural and human resources from the wealth-seeking self-interest of foreign traders. So the doctrine of unequal exchange goes like this. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. I'm reading Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. You can get a copy at powernomics.com. And actually, Dr. Anderson and I, every week, every Thursday, we meet with the students. We have a Powernomics Masterclass. If you ever want to take a look, you can just go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. I'll put the URL up on the screen. I can't even find it, so forget it. But you heard me say it, so I can't, There we go. There's a better URL, financialjuneteentv.com. Feel free to subscribe there. All right. So he says, while Africa's human capital was being displaced through slavery, so too were its natural and mineral wealth. Arab, Moor, Spanish, and Portuguese merchants traded low value. Now pay attention now. This is where they started ripping y'all off. They trade the Arabs, the Moors, Spanish, and Portuguese merchants traded low value fabricated items such as pig iron, brass rings, and religious artifacts, household gadgets, and used firearms for Africa's highly valued commodities such as gold, silver, quality leather, long cotton, art objects, black slaves, and ivory. So you were giving them the fancy stuff, and they were giving you the garbage, right? You were you were giving up the treasure, and they were just giving you nonsense. That's an interesting phenomenon because that really defines a lot of what still happens to this day. That's why if you hear people say, don't give your powerful vote away for nothing, what they're basically saying is stop participating in the doctrine of unequal exchange. And people, of course, with the propaganda, they'll translate that into you're telling black people not to vote. That's not what people are saying. They're saying make sure you vote, but make sure you get something for your vote. Like if I say don't give your money away for nothing, I'm not saying don't spend your money. Am I saying that? Give me a yes or no. Tell me if that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't spend your money. I'm saying if you spend your money, get something in return, because if you spend your money and get nothing back, then you will end up broke. So he says, let's see, European manufactured items were primarily for decorative purposes or tribal warfare. African commodities, on the other hand, were internationally used to undergird major economies and currencies. This imbalance, described by Thomas Sowell, a black economist, as the doctrine of unequal exchange, allowed natural and mineral wealth to be transferred from Africa in a steady flow. Massive displacement of Africa's human capital and natural resources weakened West Africa's social and economic institutions. Just like integration, it's just like integration. Integration also killed your institutions. You used to have businesses, you had schools, you had families. Now you don't have those things, right? Because you got integrated, you got sucked in. I'm reading the book Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. You can get a copy at powernomics.com if you'd like to go to his website. Massive displacement of Africa's human capital and natural resources weakened West Africa's social and economic institutions. The doctrine of unequal exchange depleted Africa's resources, but the wealth and revenue generated from commerce with Africa revived Europe's sagging economies. With surplus funds in their treasuries, they're balling now, right? They're paid. European nations strengthened their military and commerce communities. So did you catch that? Do you understand what's going on here? Do you understand? You were wealthy. Your people were very wealthy, and they propped up the European economy. They propped them up. The Europeans were in very bad economic shape, and then they traded with the Africans, and due to the doctrine of unequal exchange, they created what we call in economics, we call that a trade deficit. A trade deficit is when somebody uses trade with you to become the shit, and you ain't left with shit. You gave away all your shit, but now they are the shit, right? So the Europeans basically used the doctrine of unequal exchange to make themselves extremely wealthy on the backs of Africans. So here's the deal. And do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. This film, Hapi, I'm going to show you guys the trailer in a minute. If you want to see the trailer and you're on Instagram, you can go to drboycetv.com where you can watch the trailer. I want you to just watch this trailer and just know that what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build a black-owned film industry. We want there to be, black-owned everything, all black everything. We want to be able to escape the grips of racist Hollywood, and rather than complaining about what Hollywood is doing and what Hollywood isn't doing or isn't making, it's really a different kind of ideology. One that says, you know what? I'm not going to spend time fighting with the white man anymore. No disrespect. If you mess with me, I'm going to mess with you. But instead of fighting with him over what he's supposedly got, I'm going to walk away from that and put all the energy I would have put into building his stuff, all the energy I would have spent working for him, I'm going to put that energy into building in my own community. I mean, can you imagine how great black people would be if every single black person spent 50 to 60 hours a week building in their own community? I mean, think about that. Imagine if every mother said, raising my children is more important than being, somewhere else, right? If every black father said working with black people or for black people or hiring black people is my number one mission in life. I imagine if everybody said, we're going to educate our kids. We're all going to use the internet and all the resources that are around us to educate our own children. Can you imagine how great that community would be? I mean, literally, if just half of the community thought that way, that you talking about right there, that's at least 10 trillion in economic value. That's at least 10 trillion. Okay, so let me just break this down for you. Let me show you guys the trailer. I'm gonna try to share my screen. Hopefully I won't mess it up. I'm still getting used to this software, so please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. All right, so here we go. All right, so there's my audio. Okay. Give me a yes in the chat if you're able to hear this, okay? I'm still getting used to the software, so please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. All right, so here we go. All right, so there's my audio. Okay. Hold on. Give me a yes in the chat if you're able to hear this, okay? I'm still getting used to this. There we go. Okay. See, y'all should have told me I had an echo. Did y'all hear an echo? I don't know if y'all heard the echo or not. But anyway, let me try it again. Let me try it one more time because I had an echo. I didn't know I had an echo. All right, so let me play it here. All right, so here, this is one trailer. I'll show you guys two of them. One they made specially for me, but I was like, I don't want it to be about me. I want the film. I want people to see the essence of the entire film. So I'll show you both trailers just to give you an idea of what we put together here. And Taaqiy did the work. I mean, he's the director. So here we go. Let me open this up.
is a connection between every institution grown out of this country and white supremacy, the nation as a whole, including its laws and its institutions.
What you have is a tension between nationalism and globalism.
They had to create something in the mind of the poor whites that distinguished them and separated them from the blacks. And that's where you developed what I call, and James Baldwin called, the religion of whiteness.
The police that answer to the politics of that community are going to be driven by the economics of that community because economics and politics overlap.
You know why I wanted to be a politician in a time when we disenfranchised? Because of power.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Tamir Rice, Sean Bell, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, and Michael Brown, just to name a few.
Some may incorrectly classify their death as police brutality. However, it is in fact murder and a form of terrorism that is ironically very similar to what took place during chattel enslavement. What steps can be taken to make it stop?
Ain't the devil happy?
All right. So that is the trailer. I hope you guys will take a second and give a round of applause to Taaqiy Grant, who made the film. I'm an executive producer on the project, but Taaqiy deserves all the credit. I'm really proud of him. I'm proud of what the brother did. I mean, this brother spent a lot of time putting this together. Let me know if you give me a yes or no if you were able to hear the trailer. Okay, give me a yes or no. I figured you guys could hear it, but I just want to make sure. And so I'm really proud of the project. I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm also in it. And so I'll show you a second trailer in a second where I'm actually in that trailer. They sent that over to me, so I'm going to share both. Let's see here. The Brave Monk says, cause of conditioning is strong black folks. Okay. Sorry, I saw a question. Eleanor says, do Black Lives matter when it comes to your credit score, financing the car, or a house, or any large purchase? I don't know I guess the two connect in the sense that that a lot of times when you see people in tough situations or in dangerous situations, the economics correlates with everything else, right? So if you're in bad economic situations, then chances are you're going to have a tough life. You're going to have a dangerous life. You're going to have to do dangerous things in order to get money. One brother in Chicago told me that he said a lot of young guys listen to you, Dr. Boyce, because some of us get killed. We get shot up in crazy situations because we're doing crazy stuff to get money because nobody ever taught us how to get money. So really, Black lives do matter. And I think that when you say Black Lives Matter, I don't even say Black Lives Matter because I don't like the organization. I basically say all Black Lives Matter because that means that we get to define what Black Lives Matter means as opposed to letting other people make that decision for us. I don't like Black Lives Matter as an LGBT, white liberal front organization in blackface. It's not to say that all their work is bad, but I feel like they have a different agenda. Whereas I'm more for something that's all black that originates in the black community. Movements that originate from the black community are very different from movements that originate somewhere else that just kind of happen to pop up and black people are like, ooh, I'm going to be a part of that because it just happens to come out of nowhere, right? That the civil rights movement was like that. The civil rights movement did not really truly originate from the grassroots of the black community. Whenever grassroots people got too out of pocket, one of the things they did, and Malcolm X tells the story, is when black folks really got together and said, we're going to do what's best for ourselves, they used the power of media. This is why we want to control media. That's got to be the first place that we control is you got to support black media, be a part of black media, connect to black media, because they use media to basically create black leaders for you. They say, okay, we're going to take this Negro, put him on TV. And since black people really look up to white people, we watch all their media, like BET is not even a black owned company, it's owned by white folks. We're going to just pop out a black person and that'll become a black leader. That person will be more influential because they've received the validation of whiteness. White folks have approved them, right? They're on CBS or NBC, which will make some black people respect that person more than the black person who doesn't own the media outlet, who's really in the trenches with them, who's really, that teacher who's staying after school every day and loving the hell out of them kids and using money out of her own purse, to make sure those babies eat every day. Those are your black leaders. It's not these people on TV. These people on TV don't care about you. They don't know who you are. They don't know nothing about you. So you have to know the difference, right? So I think the good safety measure is to declare yourself a black leader in your household, at least, right? Like black leadership should be democratized. I'm not applying to be a black leader. Maybe I'm an advisor for you. Maybe I'm a person that can give you insights and information. But at the end of the day, I really want you making your own decisions, right? I don't want you to say, Dr. Boyce, what should I do? It's okay to say that, but really that question should be answered by you after you've been fully informed. So what Dr. Boyce can do is Dr. Boyce can give you an honest breakdown. That's why I have my audio podcast is on Spotify. It's called the Dr. Boyce Breakdown, right? Because I love breaking things down. I love saying, okay, here's what's going on. Look, if you look over here and you look over there, then you're seeing this over here and seeing that over there. And it's kind of like when you got a hamburger, but it doesn't have all the cheese on it. Like, I love to use my analogies because I love breaking things down. That's something I did for 27 years with my students. And it's fun for me. Like, I love analogies to help you understand the world. But after you get all of that, you have to go back and say, okay, I think I get it now. What's going to work for my family? That's extremely important because you can't trust hardly anybody out here now. I mean, you just can't, so I know I don't. So anyway, let me show you guys. I'll show you one more trailer before we bounce out. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And the URL on the screen is theallblackagenda.com. We gathered some resources for the Black Agenda, links to Ice Cube's contract with Black America, links to my $5 a day investing plan, which you can have that for free. That's an ebook. Links to the 100-year family wealth plan, which is free, that you can watch. Links to we have another called 6 Rules of Wealth. Links to just all kinds of stuff, a 12-point plan in terms of family and how you can better yourself. Like, I'm a big believer in self-improvement and also family improvement as a pathway to Black power. Because if we have stronger individuals and stronger families, then we'll have stronger communities. Because all the community is a collection of families, and all the families is a collection of individuals. Most of you many of you didn't have strong families because you had some weak ass people in the family. It's like a basketball team. How are you going to win championships with the team if you got weak ass players on the team that ain't been coming to practice, that haven't gone to training camp, that weren't in the weight room, that didn't sit and go through the game film with you, right? So we have to have better players on the team, and then we'll have a better team. That's all it is, right? And the biggest way to make a better team is stop letting your adversary educate you. Like, you're literally. It's crazy to me that we have millions of our Black children being taught how to be liberated by the people who serve to pay the highest penalty for their liberation. The people who will lose the most if you could become free are the ones who are supposedly teaching you how to be free. That's like the Lakers playing the Golden State Warriors for the championship and saying, what should we do? Which players should we put on the court? They're gonna say, oh no, don't play LeBron. LeBron is bad for your team. He's a bad man. That's what they do when you get real leaders, when you get real Black folks out here really fighting for the Black community. Tell me am I lying or if I'm lying, I'm flying. Tell me yes or no. Do you agree with me? When you get real Black leaders, first thing they do is they use their influence to convince you that those real Black leaders are not people you should listen to. Tell me if yes or no if you've seen that. Look at what, for example, when Ice Cube went to get $500 billion. They went out of their way to say, okay, we got to chop this down. We don't want you listening to people who are going to make progress. We want you to listen to people and in their community who are making no progress. Well, why would you listen to what Ice Cube is saying when you got old Al Sharpton over here and ain't got nothing done for nobody? No disrespect, but y'all, for real, nobody, you can't point to anything significant that's occurred in the community in terms of wealth progress or reparations bills getting passed. It's all symbolism. It's all, this fluffy stuff. I don't want fluffy stuff. I want something real. I want tangibles. I want substance. So when Cube came back and was like, okay, we got them to agree to $500 billion. And they were like, well, why would you talk to Trump? What are you doing talking to Trump? And he said, I'd like to talk to Biden. Can Biden how about Biden come up with $600 billion? Why don't we get Biden to outbid, and they don't want to hear that because they're like, wait, we need Black people sitting still. We need Black people to be shiftless. We need Black people not moving forward. That's why they try to chop down your real leadership and prop up your fake leadership. That's why they'll give more props to Billy Porter than they will give to an Ice Cube, right? Because femininity is what they want for the black man. They do not want black men to be firm and strong and clear and masculine and demanding things. They want black men to sit back and want to be little girls. They want black men to want to go, date a white boy or whatever, right? They want him to sit back with his umbrella looking cute. They don't want the black man really competing, because competitors are not good for business. That's just what it is. Competition does not help you make more money. So anyway, let me keep going. This is not anti-Billy Porter. I don't care much about Billy Porter. I'm just saying that, I will never stop being fascinated by the number of paid black people who were paid to go on TV and talk about how much they couldn't stand Ice Cube and what he was doing. These were paid black people. These were not, seriously. I did a survey on Your Black World. Your Black World, we have 400,000 subscribers on Your Black World. And I said, wait, the mainstream media is giving me very different perception of Ice Cube's behavior than what I think is going on. Am I crazy or what's happening here? I did a survey, and 99% of the people that follow me are black. There's a few people who are not black. I don't know why they're here. I love y'all. If y'all here, you can stay. You're cool. You're not, it's black first, but if you're good with that, then you can stay. But I did the survey, and I kid you not, 96% of you said that you approved of what Ice Cube is doing. So process this for a moment. If 96% of the black people that we surveyed said they approved of Ice Cube negotiating for black people, but yet on TV, 90% of the Negroes on TV are saying that this is a bad thing, what the hell is going on? What is going on? If you're looking for evidence of propaganda, there's the best evidence you're ever going to get. One of the tools, Judge Joe Brown, shout out to Judge Joe Brown. He came on the platform and really dropped some major heat. I don't know if y'all saw that interview with Joe Brown. Whew, Lord. But Judge Joe Brown said that he studied under a lady who used to work for the KGB in Russia, and she was a propaganda expert. She said one tool of propaganda, pay attention now, is to, when people have something and a set of ideas that are not congruent or consistent with what you want them to believe, what you do is you use media to create the false impression that they are alone, that you make them think that they're the only ones who believe that this thing is true. So they want you to think that the majority of black people are against what Ice Cube did. And that's not true. That's not true. It's just the Negroes on TV. Their bosses told them, this is what you need to say, or you're going to lose your job. Okay. That's why I stopped going on CNN. I used to go on CNN because I used to think they were the good guys, and they were better maybe a decade ago. But since that time, they lost a lot of their journalistic integrity because they started pursuing propaganda, and the things that Don Lemon says are just very anti-black on a regular basis. I don't know what to do with that. So I just said, I don't really want to go on CNN. I don't want to do any of this. I gave up Fox a long time ago. I used to go on Fox back in 2007, back before I understood the game, back before I had 10 years to kind of think about it. I don't know what's going on with these media outlets. The only thing I can say is that the solution is black-owned media. That way we can have our ideas laid on the table. And this is not Boyce ideas. This is not like the Church of Boyce, where everything Boyce says is true and everything Boyce says must be agreed upon. Everything Boyce says is gold. No, sometimes Boyce is wrong. Sometimes Boyce is a jackass. Sometimes Boyce has an idea that everybody ain't necessarily ready for or won't agree with. But what we want to do is have a space where you can have one basic thing that will make you empowered people. That is freedom of speech. That's it. Freedom, just freedom of speech. And that word freedom is very important for you as black people, because that's what your ancestors died for. They always tell you that your ancestors died, because of voting and all this other stuff. No, your ancestors died for you to just be free. Freedom means doing what you want to do. And they don't want you to have freedom, because anybody that wants you to have freedom is not going to sit around and tell you what to do, or tell you that if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, or you're a traitor, or we're going to cancel you. Like I said, somebody said, but Dr. Boyce, you're going to get canceled. You're going to get canceled. I said, well, first of all, because they said they did what they did, but they do to a lot of brothers who speak up. They start calling me a Trump supporter. They said, you up here supporting Donald Trump, you're gonna get canceled. And I said, okay, first of all, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I didn't support Trump in the election or Biden, but if I did, it's my right. I said, number two, all Americans deserve freedom of speech and expression. So fuck you and the horse you rode in on if you're trying to tell me what to do. I said, three, cancel culture. The fact that you're using a word like cancel to me shows you don't understand what liberation even looks like. I came in prepared for this stuff a long time ago. I learned about economic warfare on levels that you can't even comprehend. I know how to play 8th dimensional chess. You can't even play 1-dimensional checkers, Negro. Cancel culture is built for people that are financially insecure. When Bill O'Reilly wanted to get revenge on me in 2007, Bill O'Reilly on Fox News, he wanted to take me out because I spoke up against him making a joke about lynching Michelle Obama. And so the first thing O'Reilly did was he said, who does this Negro work for? Who owns this Negro? And he went out of his way to try to ambush me on national TV and say all these crazy things that weren't true, used in the propaganda. That's what they do. And to get me fired from my job at Syracuse. The thing that saved me from all of that was the fact that even before all this happened, I said to my brother, I said, the world is not a place that is built for Black men to be truly liberated. They're going to throw missiles at you for telling the truth. And when they throw those missiles, the best way to protect yourself is financial security and also economic diversification. I studied under a guy named Renee Stoltz, who is a world-leading expert in risk management. He is the highest paid person on the entire faculty at the Ohio State University Business School because he's known throughout the world for knowing how to manage risk. So I learned how to spread out my attack so that you don't even know what the fuck to attack. You don't know what you're like, okay, we're gonna cancel him. What are you gonna cancel? How are you gonna do it? You can't. Because I prepared for you long before you even got here. So my position was cancel culture is built for Negroes who have jobs, like people who work for white people. Like I don't work at Walmart. I'm not a McDonald's employee. Like, you're gonna call my boss and get me fired? Like, what is your action plan on this? And first of all, they ain't even got the discipline to really cancel nobody. Ain't nobody really been canceled. And I talked to Ice Cube. I said, yeah, man, they're trying to cancel you. And he just kind of laughed about it because they don't understand. Like, a man who makes movies and owns a basketball league is hard. What are you gonna do? This man gets money from places that you'll never hear about. Right. So the thing is that this is why your economics is so important for you as Black people, because when people retaliate against you, a lot of times they try to cancel you or attack you economically. The reason that films like this, like the film Hapi, the one that we just released, this film is important because it kind of speaks to the economic origins of white supremacy. It speaks to how the number one way that they've controlled Black people is through the money. That's why your Black politicians don't get anything done for the Black community, because the Black people are not the ones paying the bills. The politicians work for the people who pay the bills. It's the corporations, it's the billionaires. That's who they're serving. They're only using Black people because they've got money from the billionaires, and they told the billionaires have given them money, and they said, look, you're charismatic, you're good looking, you know how to talk the talk. Here's $100 million or $1 billion or whatever, so you can advertise yourself to Black people to get them to vote. But you're not here to really serve Black people. You're here to sell Black people. You're not serving Black people. You're selling Black people. And because we haven't been trained on how economic warfare works, we don't understand the difference. There's a big difference. If you're invited to dinner at somebody's house, there's a big difference between being invited to the house to sit down and have a nice meal versus being invited so that you are the meal, so that you literally are the pig that's circulating over the rotisserie chicken that's being circulated over the fire with the apple in your mouth or whatever, right? Like you are the meal. So you shouldn't be flattered when you're invited to dinner if they're basically carving you up so they can eat you. That's what the Europeans did to Africa. Dr. Claude Anderson writes about it in the book Black Labor, White Wealth. He says they wanted to eat Africa. They took Africa, they saw it as a big old cheeseburger, and they just chopped that damn thing up. Okay, you get this side, you get that side, you get this side, because we don't want to fight each other over who's gonna get to eat good. But they were literally sharing Africa, right? So that's the thing. You have to understand what it means to be part of an economic system in a way that you're really empowered. Integration failed for you because you were integrated as a commodity. See, you were integrated as a commodity, like it's like you were like oil is for a car, or like gasoline might be for that car. or an auto part might be for a car. You weren't brought in to own the car. You weren't brought in to drive the car. You weren't brought in to even ride in the front seat of the car. You were brought in to be, to fill up the gas tank. That's what, that's why they need you. That's why they love you. That's why they flatter you so much and say, thank God for Black people. We couldn't have got elected without you. Without you, we couldn't have found a way to defeat Donald Trump. My God, without you. And never once, process this for a moment. In all these thank yous, never once do they say, well, in compensation for you doing so much for us, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut a big ass check for you. See, thanking you is not a problem. It's when somebody thanks you and that's all you get. I mean, really, would you walk into a store, give them all your money and have them say, thank you for giving all your money. Thank you. Have a nice day. I'll be calling next week. That's not logical. That's what they call the doctrine of unequal exchange. Dr. Anderson breaks it down in Black Labor, White Wealth. That's why everybody should read this book. All of your children should read things like Powernomics. I know me and my kids, I talk to them about Powernomics concepts whenever I can. It's kind of tough because, kids don't want to listen half the damn time. But that's what we talk about on a regular basis. I tell the girls, I say, look, you got to know how to make your own money or these men will use you. Like these men will abuse the hell out of you. So girl, you going to be a boss. You going to have your own money. Even if he's got money, it's better to have a partner that's got some money. That's a good thing. But you're going to have yours too. And believe me, the girls are they all cute, because their mama's the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. But I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Right. The same thing with the boy. I tell him, you're a Black man. You don't want to go through life as a Black man who spends 90% of his time whining. That's, first of all, that's unattractive. Second of all, it's going to be very depressing for you because you're going to just spend your whole life getting your ass kicked. And then third of all, you want to have options. The number one factor that determines how happy you are in life is how many options you have. If you ever want to be really depressed, this is a secret to being really depressed. If you ever want to be really depressed, are you listening? The best way to be really depressed is to put yourself in a situation where you are trapped and you have no options. If you put yourself in a situation where you are trapped and you have no options, I guarantee you that you will be depressed and you will stay that way and you'll never find happiness in your life. So options are very valuable in every sense of the word. All right. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. You can text the word Boyce to 31996 to get text notifications. Text Boyce to 31996. Later on tonight, I'm going to do an update on the financial markets on the Black Financial Channel, theblackfinancialchannel.com. And if you like to listen to me via audio, the drboycebreakdown.com. That's where we do our audio podcast. So a lot of times I take the clips that I do here and we put them in there as audio so you can listen like while you're working out or in the gym or in your car, stuff like that. So a couple of final points I want to make here before we head out, but actually scratch that. I'm going to show you guys this last trailer because I want to show mad respect to Taaqiy and what they did with this film, Hapi. I think it's one of the more significant films this year. I'm super proud when Black people create what I call Blackbuster films. Blackbuster films are films that come out of the Black community that I believe had the ability to be seen by over 1 million people. And so basically, we have a Blackbuster movement going on right now where you've got people like Tariq Nasheed. He's going to make his movie Buck Breaking. I am 100% on board and complete support of that film. That film's going to come out. And when it comes out, I'm hoping that the community will support that film the same way we support the Black Panther and everything else, because you have a golden opportunity to be the part of the origin of something that's going to be amazing. One day, this will be $1 trillion industry. Within less than 50 years, maybe even 30 years, you're going to see tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, and eventually $1 trillion going through this Black film industry, because we are ahead of where Hollywood was at this time. When Hollywood first started, it was, the Jewish community basically made a power play. These were Eastern European Jews who were struggling because they were getting rejected by every institution. So they came together and they fused their community and they created something of their own. So I want us to do the same thing. And I want us to believe in that. Okay. So let me show you guys another trailer real quick for the film Hapi. This will be the last one today. And if you're on Instagram, you will not see it if you're on Instagram. If you want to watch it, you got to go to drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com. So here we go. Let me pull this up and share my screen.
Things you can do with money are that you can spend the money, you can hold the money, or you can grow the money. Well, obviously, spending the money is how a lot of people get into trouble. In fact, they don't just spend all their money, they spend money they don't even have, and they end up in debt. So those are the options that you want to avoid. The options that you want to pursue are to either hold the money or to grow the money, and there are techniques for doing this. So the best way to avoid financial pitfalls is to follow a model that I have for children, which is what I call the KID model. The KID model stands for Knowledge, Investment, Discipline. Knowledge means that every black child in America should have a basic economic education from a very early age. They should know how to buy a home. They should know how to start a business. They should know how to invest in the stock market. So you've got the knowledge now. Now they need capital. That's where the I comes in. That stands for investment. That means that every person of color should invest at least $5 a day into the stock market on a regular basis. Doesn't matter which stocks you buy. What matters is that you just get in the game. Because if you're not in the game, you can't win the game. Do it for your kids so that when they get that knowledge, they have some capital to work with. The last part, the D stands for discipline. Discipline means that even when you know what you need to do, sometimes you still don't do it. So you teach your kids how to have economic discipline, how to engage in delayed gratification, how to make sure that the long term is more important than the short term, and how to make moves today that will put them in a better position tomorrow.
All right. So that's the second trailer of Hapi. Give Taaqiy Grant and his team a digital round of applause. Their URL, if you want to also know more about the film, is happyfilm.com. HAPI, happyfilm.com. And also, if you want to join us for the free sneak peek and conversation with the director, it's going to happen tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. You can go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. And also on that page, you'll see a link to the full screening of the film that's going to happen on the 21st. The full screening, that event is going to be it's a $25 ticket. And so I hope you'll consider supporting what the brothers got going on, because I know for a fact that he spent years making this movie, years, and I know it wasn't cheap. I know he had to come all the way out to my house, and we shot some scenes down in Chicago near the Board of Trade, and he shot with Professor James Small and Sharif Abdul Malik, one of my favorite people who created We Buy Black, Dr. Julianne Malveaux, another one of my favorite people, a black woman who has a PhD in economics from MIT. There's lots of girls that know about Cardi B, but maybe some of the little girls need to know about people like Dr. Julianne Malveaux. Maybe that would be better for their future. So that's what we're doing. So feel free to join us, blackmovienight.net. That's the URL that you can register at. And also text the word Boyce to 31996 to get text notifications when we go live, things like that. And hit the thumbs up button before you go. Thumbs up, share, and subscribe. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and please have a wonderful day. I'll be back again real soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.